Hello and welcome to our webcast covering foreign investors in Canada. Firstly, I want to thank you for taking your valuable time out of your day to be with us. I hope that by the end of our webcast you have some interesting takeaways and are willing to contact us at your convenience for more in-depth information. For those of you returning to our webcast series, welcome back. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mitz Cantaria and I'm a licensed mortgage agent with MCI, Mortgage Capital Investment. Before we begin the webcast, allow me to quickly introduce you to our experienced and professional management team of licensed mortgage brokers that focus on both residential and commercial mortgages, on the A side, B side, and via private lending. Firstly, we have Mr. Radu Avatescu, the owner and principal broker of Mortgage Capital Investment, combined with Hisham Farid, Mitz Cantaria, and Eddie Marinescu. From simple mortgage needs to complex purchasing and refinancing situations, we have helped clients achieve their property visions with our solutions and lender network. You can learn more about each of us from our bios on the MCI website. MCI stands for Mortgage Capital Investment. We are classified as a medium-sized mortgage brokerage, which has around 35 registered mortgage agents, and you can read our positive reviews on Google. MCI is the official trade name of an established brokerage of 15 years called Centum Total Mortgage Services, located at 455 Kerr Street in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Now that you know about us, we welcome you to connect with us and stay in touch. Let's quickly review the topics that we will cover in this presentation. Firstly, we'll look at foreign investors' eligibility. Then we'll cover why invest in Canadian real estate, eligible properties, our bank's the typical option, two main investor categories, the list of required information and documents, case studies, and why work with Mortgage Capital Investment. Then before wrapping up, we'll go through some common questions that we get asked by clients. Now you might ask, who are considered foreign investors? They are, number one, investors outside of Canada who are Canadian citizens living and working abroad and do not declare any income tax in Canada. The breadwinner lives abroad while the satellite family members reside in Canada. The second category are investors outside of Canada who do not have any Canadian status other than a visitor's visa. Note that potential immigrants in Canada who do not have a job or credit history established yet can also be considered. So why invest in Canadian real estate? Well, Canada's real estate market has been seeing historical property value growth, especially in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton areas in recent years. The fastest growing segment for average detached home prices in Ontario was surprisingly held by detached homes in the Oakville, Milton, and Mississauga areas. Canada's central bank, the Bank of Canada, is always monitoring and implementing market policies that encourage healthier property mortgages by lenders. Reputable credit rating companies place Canada at an investor's grade rating with the stable outlook, which reflects on the strength of Canada as a good investment opportunity. Immigration is a big influence on investments in Canada. On average, Canada targets to receive between 350,000 to 400,000 people from different parts of the world on a yearly basis. The majority of immigrants come for a better quality of life, and they find their jobs in cities and suburbs. This demand drives home prices further up. As a result, our population is increasing, and as the Canadian government keeps the immigration programs active, this aspect alone will increase the demand for property and their values in years to come, especially if housing supply struggles to keep up, as has been the case so far. Canada is known internationally to be a peaceful, safe, and welcoming country. It is a true cultural mosaic to people from all over the world, and the position of number one for the best country in the world to move to, according to US News. And this does not show signs of changing anytime soon. Let's take a look at what type of properties are eligible for foreign investors. Our foreign investors applicants have access to owner-occupied, second homes, and rental properties, and are specifically limited to these types so lenders can ensure their extended risk is managed and under control. Canada, being ranked as one of the top countries to live in and having one of the most rewarding real estate markets, does attract attention. When a foreign investor is used to dealing with banks in their home country, their instinct will also lead them to banks in Canada when they're ready to invest here. Here's the issue. Canadian banks have limited programs when it comes to foreign investors, and these investors don't know enough about the Canadian banking system. First of all, the major lenders, including banks in Canada, have discontinued programs for foreign investors, and it is time-consuming to identify which lender still offers such a program. The lending market is vast and policies can be confusing. As a foreign investor, you usually have a unique financial situation, and you might not be familiar with Canadian lenders or their lending policies and regulations. If visiting on a limited visa, investors can have a very hard time to find which lender will be interested in your investment. The regulations for foreign investors are not always clear-cut or simple when dealing with the big banks. There are multiple variables to consider, such as work experience and history, income verification, nationality, and which country they are residing, and so on. This complexity makes it challenging when sourcing funding from the banks. Usually, a foreign investor can only buy up to 2 houses in Canada using a regular financial institution or major bank. So how can these limitations and challenges for foreign investors be overcome? So borrowing in Canada can be complex. If we look at 2 investor category types to help us understand the different scenarios, this will make things a bit clearer. Number 1, residents of Canada who are working abroad don't declare income tax in Canada. However, they have a primary relative who lives in Canada seeking shelter, such as a wife or children who attend a Canadian academic institution. Number 2, non-resident investors who want to invest in Canada. For example, they don't have Canadian citizenship or permanent resident status. At MCI, we have exclusive access to various lenders to accommodate all kinds of foreign investors. We can even help self-employed, non-Canadian resident business owners through our private lenders channel. Here are the down payment requirements for each category. A standard 35% down for non-resident foreign investors who do not hold a citizenship nor a permanent resident status in Canada. And the real advantage that we provide is for Canadian citizens who live and work outside of Canada and do not declare tax here. They will be treated as a foreign investor, however, they will need only 20% down payment. The down payment can be gifted from immediate families such as parents, children, siblings, but does not apply for rentals. Supporting documentation is required for the origin of the funds. How can we do this? We have a lending network of international and Canadian national lenders. We also have experience with the complexity of cross-border lending from a variety of countries where these foreign investors live or work, which requires international relationships and local knowledge of that source country. Note that our lending network also provides the opportunity, if you have already purchased up to 2 houses in Canada, to accommodate up to 4 properties subject to conditions being met. Since foreign investors automatically bring on more risk due to not residing in Canada, here are the mortgage requirements we have come across in their funding applications. Number 1, an application and consent form for each applicant. Number 2, proof of down payment with proof of 90 days accumulated history of the funds, which is pretty standard. Number 3, a letter of employment from the current workplace, also quite standard. Number 4, usually 3 to 6 months of bank statements, a bit longer to ensure recurring payments and no fees. Number 5, usually 3 to 6 months of credit card statements to back up the main account or in case of missing credit bureau information. Number 6, a credit history report if it exists. And number 7, if self-employed, then business activity for 2 years. Now let's take a look at some case studies. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Hisham Farid, the Director of our Commercial Division, who will run you through the first foreign investor case. Over to you, Hisham.
Thank you, Mitz. Hello everyone, my name is Hisham Farid and I will be sharing with you our first case study for this webcast. We wanted to touch on our edge through the following example of what MCI has done for a foreign investor Canadian citizen living and working abroad, whereby his wife and child were living in Canada. Having lived in Dubai, UAE, it's a very common situation due to the population composed largely of expats. Our applicant, a Canadian citizen working and living in Dubai as a business consultant who did not declare taxes in Canada, reached out to us seeking to purchase and obtain a mortgage against a residential property in Canada. His goal was to purchase the property for his wife and son. His son was enrolled in an undergraduate degree at the University of Toronto. We were able to find a suitable property by connecting them to one of our realty agent partners and qualify him through our lending partners for a dedicated mortgage program with only 20% down payment. In a nutshell, our process was: we confirmed the source of the funds, obtained 3 months of debit and Visa card account statements, and noticed the mortgage expense being paid in Dubai. Our lender requested 6 months proof of regular mortgage payments. Applicant qualified, and we obtained him funding for the Canadian property for less mortgage payments than he had expected. What helped this application? That applicant's salary was substantial, as he was able to service both mortgages in Dubai and the one in Canada. Standard items we review for subject program: employment letter, most recent 3 consecutive months of official bank account statements in the name of the applicant, showing consistent income flows that supports the amount indicated in the employment letter. 3 months of official bank statements of a credit card from the country where the applicant lives at, official bank statements showing liquid assets in Canada and liquid assets in the country the applicant is applying from, being United Arab Emirates in our showcase. Lender forms, 1 for each applicant, credit history report from the country where the applicant lives. And with that said, back to you, Mitz.
For our second case study, allow me to introduce you to Edward Marinescu, our Director of Sales.
Thank you, Mitz, and hello everyone. My name is Edward Marinescu, and I'll be sharing with you the second investor case for this webcast. Our applicant was a Mexican investor who owned an exporting business in Mexico and sought to own property closer to his family living in Oakville. However, he did not have any Canadian status other than a simple visitor, and so he reached out to one of his connections who was a previous client of ours, and we helped him out. Our borrower's exporting business was lucrative, and he had no problem proving he had a company which employed both him and his wife. So once we obtained the required documents from them, and the lender conditions were met by them, we were able to secure funding for his home here in Canada. And now let's take a quick look at the required information and documents.
Thank you, Eddie. So, before we wrap up, let's look at the benefits of working with MCI. We have access to a range of private lenders willing to assist foreign investors achieve their financial goals, and so we welcome you to contact us to obtain funds for your investment properties in Ontario. You will have a dedicated mortgage broker to help you close on your investment, who will work with you 24 hours a day from the start to close, focusing with you on your application. At MCI, we can help you in the process of getting the financing as quick, easy, and hassle-free as possible, while keeping you updated with milestone achievements and progress. After reviewing your needs and unique situation, we will connect with our lender network to seek out the best and most suitable lender, providing a competitive quote for financing your investment property. We have access to a broad lenders network, which includes A lenders, B lenders, and most importantly, private lenders, to provide you with an end-to-end solution. Once the quote is received and reviewed by us, we will negotiate with the lender on your behalf to get the best possible mortgage terms, conditions, and the lowest rate. Mortgage terms and rates will vary based on the mortgage application and its complexity. And now let's go through some common questions that we get asked. Question 1. Are all foreign investors from all countries accepted for the application process? The answer is that not all countries are accepted for this application process. For example, some lenders don't operate in some countries due to their own policies or imposed by the Canadian government. As of now, we happen to come across applicants from accepted countries as they usually fit the foreign investors criteria. Question 2. What do you charge for your services? The answer is that our main goal is your experience and satisfaction, and keeping that in mind, our service charges are on a case-by-case basis, subject to the application complexity and lender's terms. Question 3. How do exchange rates affect the application process? Question 3. How do exchange rates affect the application process? The answer is that we make it clear during our initial discussions with applicants that our lenders are Canadian and they deal in Canadian dollars. So our applicants can put in strategies early on with his or her financial institution to hedge the foreign exchange risks. We usually recommend to our applicants to have a Canadian bank account already in place, open and active at the start of the application process. This account will be used and facilitates down payment and other transaction-related costs. Question 4. Which banks have foreign investment programs in place at present? The answer is that this is consistently changing with the major banks and their policies. Depending on the applicant's qualification process that we go through ahead of recommending lenders, we reach out to our lender network partners to find the best suitable lender that is suitable to the circumstances in place. Thank you once again for watching this webcast. Please note that the information we share with you today is for educational purposes only and is subject to change over time. Investment results may vary based on individual circumstances. MCI and Mortgage Capital Investment are the trade names of Centum Total Mortgage Services. For further information, feel free to navigate our website www.mcinvest.ca to explore our full array of services covering residential and commercial mortgages. We look forward to putting together new webcasts in due course. If you have any topics of interest you'd like us to cover, please reach out to us by sending us an email on info@mcinvest.ca. This is Mitz Kantari on behalf of Mortgage Capital Investment, MCI, and our team saying thank you very much for making time for this webcast. We look forward to working with you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.